great coach, legendary quarterback, dominant tight end, my fandom. Chiefs are the new Patriots with all the good and the bad that comes with it, according to Corey Woodruff of USA Today writing. Like Brady and the Patriots did for all those years, Mahomes and the Chiefs will be the biggest obstacles for your favorite football team finally getting over the hump to bring a Lombardi back to your home stadium. While it won't happen every year, it'll always stand the chance of happening. Nick, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly right. I'm not being sarcastic here. I empathize and I get the frustration for the other AFC teams because it was a dynasty handoff with no gap year between it in the same conference. The Patriots from 11 to 18 in that 8-year stretch made the AFC title game every year, made 5 Super Bowls. The Chiefs from 18 to now, because they played each other in that AFC title game, have made the AFC title game every year, and in the 5 years since have made 4 of the 5 Super Bowls. So which means from 2011 to 2013, the AFC Super Bowls have been 5 for Tom, 4 as appearances. 5 for Tom, 4 for Patrick, 2 for Peyton as a Bronco, and then Joe Flacco got a weird one, and Joe Burrow got a weird one. So everyone else has to feel like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And so that part of it. Now, what I will say is this, and Brew, you might agree, Coach is going to reflexively disagree, but I think you'll have to agree. If the Chiefs win Sunday, they top the Patriots' best 5-year stretch. And it's the best 5-year stretch in NFL history.
5.
If we can show it to you, what it would be. This is if they win Sunday. It's essentially identical with, as close as you can get, but one more regular season win. They both will have been to the conference title game every year. They both will have lost Super Bowl. They both will have won 3. It's at least a tie, if you will, and there's nothing else comes close because the Cowboys in the 90s didn't get to a 4th. The Steelers in the 70s, they needed 6 years. So I'm talking about a 5-year stretch. So that's where we're at. The Chiefs started off at the apex of the Patriots dynasty.
I agree with everything you said. However, the article was saying not just AFC teams not liking the Chiefs, but fans, like all of the NFL world outside of Kansas City, not liking them as the evil empire. And that's where I'll counter. I think they could actually be like the anti-Patriots because, just starting off with the quarterbacks, and obviously Brady's liked, but Mahomes has been more of a driving force in this dynasty than Brady was at the beginning. It was Brady and Belichick, because Brady, they turned it around with Brady, but he wasn't doing what Mahomes, he wasn't leading them like Mahomes has led the Chiefs. Secondly, there's no cheating scandal. Like a lot of the reason people dislike the Patriots was because of the cheating scandal. I think a lot of people that was the case.
Then added to it because even if you didn't want to care about the first one,
but that
then
was
there was
much
a second
later.
One. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So I think there was that. I think Kansas City is more likable. Mahomes and Andy Reid is much more likable than Belichick. He's in all these commercials and he's funny.
Because he eats hamburgers?
No, but he's good. It's funny in the commercials. And so
he's certainly more likable.
Because what I think is this,
whole
Coach.
motif was he didn't care about being liked.
Right.
I like that.
Okay.
But here's the look. Just because you dominate and you become a dynasty, like the article was painted like it's going to be boring. Like who's going to beat the Chiefs? The Jordan Bulls dominated unlike anything we've seen in the NBA since Bill Russell. And they were beloved because Jordan's style of play was exciting.
That's right.
That's where we talked earlier. Yes, it's nice if they keep winning with the defense, but you got Patrick Mahomes. If they let him cook and be as exciting as he's been earlier in his career, then I think a lot of people will just love them and they'll become America's team for a stretch.
Well, look, I agree that they are more likable. They have more likable factors to them, except when you look at the reaction to the Ravens AFC Championship game, everybody was looking for Lamar Jackson to finally end the Chiefs' reign. And as likable as they are, they're kind of saturated. I mean, every single commercial, every single day is something Chiefs-related, and it gets old. And then there's the post-games like, oh, you thought we weren't going to be here, and we're here.
Stop making them underdogs.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Stop doubting them.
So now you're taunting. So there's that element to it.
No, they're talking to you directly.
And I understand. I understand that Nick wants to say that they were equal. I would argue that the quarterbacks that were faced during that time period were a lot more challenging than the quarterbacks that are being faced right now. I mean,
Really?
you got
Josh
Really?
Allen,
Nick
Lamar,
Foles in a Super
Burrow.
Bowl?
this is the second batch of
Yes.
Super Bowl wins?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the first batch.
The second.
Well, we were-
Oh, the first batch of Jake Delhomme in a Super Bowl?
I'm just saying that
Don McNabb throwing up on himself?
the
What are we
quarterbacks-
talking about?
Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger. There were a lot of elite guys
For
that
the record,
every
You
year.
didn't see the last block, but Mahomes is playing Drew Brees.
See,
I did see that.
Did you see that?
No.
Was I putting Birdie in
know
Hall
we
of
have
Fame? No.
Drew Brees light right
Yeah.
now. I would argue that the level of quarterback play at that time is arguably higher than what
Go ahead, and then
you
I'm gonna
face
throw
in the
it.
last.
Some
Okay, well,
This is
that's,
the
I mean,
best
that's,
ever.
I mean, that's,
I'm gonna-
You think
no,
that's the best?
No, some think this is the best
Better
quarterback
than Peyton
ever.
Manning?
Hold on, he's gonna.
You guys
he's
weren't
gonna
beating
go
Peyton
down.
Manning. You guys lost.
We were.
That's not what I'm. Yes, and you missed the playoffs in the interim. We're not
we're
even
talking about
talking
those
about
first
that.
three Super Bowl
Yeah, we're
rings.
not.
Oh, you're talking about the second.
You're not.
You're talking
Yes,
about the
I
second.
am, because in the
Got
first
it,
three, you
got it.
guys missed the playoffs after the
once.
first one.
Forget which batch of three you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, that's not as good.
Okay, there's one.
But-
Two more.
Yeah, that's.
I know we're sitting on two. It's just like let's all.
Right, it
settle
was
down.
under the hypothesis of them winning
I don't
Sunday.
do
Wild,
hypotheticals.
I'm going to call.
I'm facts guy. I gotta be facts
like
too.
that.
I can't
Be
just
facts.
be here
This
waving
side
the
of the
pop
table
pops.
is facts, baby.
Yeah,
In any event,
yeah.
Tom Brady. Let's hear what he had to say. He joined Colin this afternoon. Take a listen.
I think Patrick, obviously, I think he's a tremendous player. He's a great leader. I think that's one part. Everyone would look at, a pass that's a no-look pass. I look at how do his teammates care about him? Do they respond to him? And that happens week in and week out with him. So that's why I think they're always the team to beat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. But I think that this year's team in particular, none of it can happen without Patrick. And because the receiving core was in such disarray, certainly early in the year, I think if you just put a good quarterback on the Chiefs, the offense grinds to a halt. I think it took a great player.
Absolutely.
With all that said, the reason this Chiefs team was able to survive the growing pains is what they were able to do defensively, which is what makes it so unique. So Brady, throughout his run, 9 times had a top 5 scoring defense. This is Mahomes' first one. And here's another place I want your take on it, Coach, where I see a similarity between the Chiefs and the Patriots dynasty. The Patriots had a defensive-minded head coach who got to go mind meld with a great offensive coordinator who he didn't really have to worry about losing for a long stretch of time, because after Josh flamed out with the Broncos, it was going to be a decade till he got another head coaching opportunity. So he didn't, while everyone else was dealing with brain drain and things like that, and while he had to lose you guys, defensive coordinators, a lot, because he's defensive side of the ball, when you leave, he can pick up some of the slack there until the next guy's kind of ready for it. Andy gets Steve Spagnuolo a year into Mahomes as the starter. Spagnuolo did not work out as a head coach. No one talks about interviewing for jobs. None of it. So Andy, while he can lose Bieniemy and pick up some of the slack over the course of the year, he has Steve Spagnuolo there to basically the whole time to be able to run that and not have to worry about losing it, which I think is a huge element to this year's team, and it's similar to what the Patriots had with Josh.
Yeah, we definitely having the continuity with Andy and the long relationship with Spagnuolo. A lot of people wouldn't have stayed with Spagnuolo the way that Andy did, and now he's viewed differently than he was during the early days of the Chiefs reign. But it still comes back to the fact that with Patrick, he is such a force multiplier.
There we go.
He's gone through the first contract. He's paid all that money. They've had to not spend as much money on offensive players. And now there's growing pains, but he's still finding a way to make it work. And everybody on that sideline knows that as long as we're in the game, and late, Patrick's probably going to pull it out. Mm-hmm. And that confidence, that extreme confidence, it's huge. It's huge.
Do you want to go, Brew? I had a question.
No, go ahead.
Do you think there's a element of, when you were with Tom, that there's a tiger, what we call the tiger effect, where you always hear guys at the Masters or whatever would hear a big roar, and even though they're Tiger was, holes ahead of them or holes behind them, they would have to start changing their game because they knew Tiger was coming. Do you think when guys see Mahomes on the sideline, we're going to change the way we play?
Yeah, you have to be worried about how many points he could potentially put up at any point. And so typically, and this year's been a little bit different, but you'll take chances that you wouldn't normally take because he can be so explosive at any point. And you think, okay, maybe we've got to go for it on fourth down. Maybe we've got to take fake punts or do things that we wouldn't traditionally do because he's so good and we don't want to give him the ball.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I think Lamar did, and Josh Allen.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.